So we have to set the record straight about what's been said about the NCAA's notice of allegations against Michigan. I guess. Welcome to the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show, where we cover the Big Ten from a Michigan perspective with expert trash talk and unrivaled analysis. My name is Cliff. His name is Mac. Let's get into it. So as you know, we had an early report this week from Chris Bayless, was the one who broke it at the Wolverine, about the notice of allegations coming from the NCAA regarding the alleged rules violations at Michigan over the past 3 years. Now we have a report out from Josh Henschke, who tweeted it out with the words, "I need to set the record straight." I don't know why, because as far as I can tell, he's saying the same thing that I was reading earlier in the week. So I'm assuming other people were saying other things. So here's what we have now. According to Josh Henschke's understanding of the notice of allegations, which actually isn't out yet, this is the early report of what should be coming out, is there is no concern from Michigan of a bowl ban or a postseason ban of any kind. The NCAA has yet to link Michigan to Stalions' operation, and Michigan has actually felt that the investigation was functionally over. According to multiple sources, there has been a grand total of 0 level 1 charges found against Michigan. There is some confusion as to whether Stalions will himself get a level 1 or level 3 violation due to his failure to cooperate. Some people have said these violations only go against the school, not the person, but it appears that when there's a show cause, that it does go against the person. So in fact, it sounds like the NCAA is trying to package together a bunch of conspiracy charges to create a level 1 show cause charge against Stalions. Central Michigan has dismissed their QB coach, Jake Costner, who apparently is no relation to Kevin Costner, allegedly. He is being accused of not cooperating with the NCAA's investigation into Stalions on the sideline at CMU, but that doesn't even involve Michigan, so it doesn't really matter. It's just connected to the story. So whether or not Michigan is preparing for a fight really apparently isn't a question. I think that is actually one thing that Chris Bayless said that apparently has to be debunked, is that he was saying Michigan would be preparing for a fight. According to Josh Henschke, Michigan is not preparing for a fight because there's really no fight to be had. And it sounds like the worst outcome of this whole thing is that Michigan could face potential fines. Mac, help us out here. What do you think about all of this?
I mean, all of this really makes me wonder what the NCAA was thinking this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll get to that in a second. I guess I'll start off with this. I'm a little concerned about Michigan being surprised to hear about a potential bowl ban. So, from what I understand, Michigan was preparing for punishments it thought was, most likely, that being the potential fines. But the fact that they were surprised about the potential of a bowl ban, I don't know. I mean, it makes me wonder if the NCAA kind of pulled that out of nowhere because they're just getting vindictive at this point. I don't know. But I have to wonder, what exactly was the evidence the NCAA first got that they felt was so strong that the Big Ten warned schools on Michigan's schedule of the possibility of player safety being in question? Player safety was in question at one point because of this. So if this report is to be believed, then there really is no evidence against Michigan at all. At least, certainly not enough to warrant concerns of player safety. And as we know, Michigan State went ahead and did the smart thing and boycotted that game anyway. That being said, there's still no evidence. So it could be that they had all of this evidence against Connor Stalions and just assumed that
to be
Michigan
fair, only the players boycotted that game, not the fans.
That's true. That's absolutely true. You make a good point.
Yeah.
Now, it could be that the NCAA had all of this evidence against Connor Stalions and just assumed that Michigan was connected, assumed that Harbaugh was connected. But what does assuming do? Makes you an idiot.
Family show. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. Okay. Maybe that's why they warned the other schools of player safety concerns. I guess that would actually kind of make sense. But as far as I know, we still don't know what evidence was collected from Connor Stallions that made the NCAA think it had a massive cheating scandal on its hands, or make the Big Ten suspend Harbaugh without even seeing the evidence themselves. Holy crap, guys. I mean, again, the Big Ten suspended Harbaugh because of the evidence the NCAA said it had against Michigan, not because the Big Ten saw the evidence. In fact, the Big Ten even said in its letter that they hadn't seen the evidence. They just heard from the NCAA that they had really compelling evidence. And so we're just going to suspend you anyway. What is this? What kind of kangaroo court nonsense is this?
There's been a lot of talk of non-compliance that seems to be common with the NCAA, that Harbaugh didn't comply with the Burgergate or Pizzagate, depending on who you're talking to, I guess. And now the Stallions and other coaches weren't complying with sign stealing and with the sign stealing investigation. What does that mean exactly? Who and what were they not complying about?
Okay, so from what I understand, what is considered non-compliance is extremely subjective. So, okay, so according to Isaiah Hull, I was listening to Locked On Wolverines, shout out Isaiah Hull. The NCAA was asking coaches, administrators, personnel, whatever. The NCAA was asking them for things like personal cell phone access, so they can look through text messages, personal email accounts. At one point, they were even looking for access to personal bank accounts.
Oh,
And
I
like,
hadn't heard about that.
yeah, and like
Uh,
everybody just got a shiver down their spine. Like, no, I'm not going to give you access to my bank account. Are you crazy?
mhm.
And the NCAA doesn't have the power to legally ask for those things like the government does. So when a coach says, no, I don't want you to have access to my personal bank account, like any reasonable human being would, the NCAA says, are you being non-compliant? Are you being non-compliant? Here's a level 1 violation. You're being non-compliant. We can't see your bank records. Well, you're obviously hiding something. So here's a level 1 violation because you're non-compliant. It sounds like that's the worst thing that Connor Stallions did at this point, according to the Josh Henschke article, because otherwise all they're charging him with is, quote, conspiracy to violate bylaw 11.6.1. Conspiracy, because they can't even prove that he did violate the law. So all they can get him on is the potential of a conspiracy.
Well, that must be where that spreadsheet comes in then. Connor Stallions, that apparently was the evidence that they sent back to the Big Ten, was that spreadsheet that said, I'm going to this game and this game and this game, and putting his friends' names in there or whatever.
But that's the thing, is it's really subjective. So all the NCAA actually has right now is basically they're saying, hey, we think that you were going to commit a violation. And then Connor Stallions basically responded with, no. And that was enough for the NCAA to be like, oh, are you not complying now? I mean, maybe they had that evidence, but if he didn't actually commit the violation, then conspiracy is all they have. They made that
Right.
up. It seems like, anyway. I should
Hmm.
say that I'll hedge my bets here. It seems like they're making up this conspiracy charge to actually get him, or to try and get him on something. I want to be
Right.
clear though. There was a rule broken, from what I understand, about this Big Ten sportsmanship policy. I don't really know what that is. It kind of sounds silly, to be honest, but they're saying that he violated that. Okay. I mean, if he did something bad there, then that's fine. But again, I think that he did something stupid, but the fact that the NCAA had nothing to warrant the original allegations, they're now looking for charges, looking to make up charges so that they don't look like complete imbeciles at this point.
Hmm. Also, as I'm thinking about it, conspiracy also involves some level of planning. If you planned out to do something and you had it all written down, you had the diagram, the instructions, you had people lined up to help you, that's conspiracy if you didn't go through with it. But
Okay.
that's what a conspiracy would be. It would have to be more than just thinking about it. You have to plan it out.
So there's actually got to be some physical evidence.
Right. And that's probably where the spreadsheet comes in.
Okay. All right. So actually, that makes sense. So the NCAA found that physical evidence, it's enough to warrant a conspiracy charge. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That actually kind of makes some sense. That's fine. But a conspiracy charge to commit or to violate a bylaw that they were going to repeal in 2019 anyway,
Mhm.
that's still what this is
Speaking
about. I think, I mean, it sounds like he did do some of it. Like he did send people to games to videotape things and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, okay, I'm actually kind of surprised that uh, all they can definitively get him on is a conspiracy charge because I thought it was pretty much settled that he totally did it. Like he totally like advanced scouted opponents at opponent fields, or he didn't, but he sent friends to go do it.
Mhm.
So there's some question as to whether or not that's a neat little workaround he found that all of a sudden makes this whole thing legal. I still
Mhm.
think it makes it look a little sketchy at best. And honestly, as long as Harbaugh didn't have anything to do with it,
Mhm.
then Connor Stallions got fired. This should never have been a thing. And not only should it never have been a thing, but it really shouldn't have been a thing because the NCAA was going to repeal it in 2019 anyway because they didn't say that, or because they said that it didn't actually provide any sort of competitive advantage anyway. So
Right. Well,
at the
the
end of the day, no matter what happens, this was never a big deal.
and the question there that people keep bringing up, Steve Dace brought it up originally, is what is a scout? And that's what's not defined. Outside of it would have to be an employee of the University of Michigan, and I think it has to be somebody who's actually connected to the football program, but maybe not. Let's just say it's an employee of Michigan, the University of Michigan. So
Mhm.
if Connor Stallions is giving tickets to his friends, they're not employees, therefore they're not scouts. And from what I understand, after reading, and we've read the letter from the Big Ten, we've seen that information. The farthest it goes is Connor Stallions had the spreadsheet. He bought the tickets. Some of the tickets were used, but not all of them. So, from what I understand, there were 30 games that tickets were purchased for, but not all of them were used, including the Ohio State game. Those tickets were not used.
Okay.
After that, it's did the video ever make it back to Connor Stallions? We don't know. Now, there were schools that were saying they have video of people in the stands in those seats, but all that means is they were there. That doesn't mean they were videoing anything. It certainly doesn't mean that it made it back to Connor Stallions, even. The value of the video goes down significantly with each question. Who
Well,
was using the iPhone, who was using the phone, what kind of phone was it, what kind of capabilities did the phone have, did they know what they were supposed to be videoing, did they video the right thing, were their hands steady, all of these things come into question. Then ultimately it's, did they get the right plays, because those plays may not have come up when that team was playing Michigan. So that's why I keep saying the value of it goes down and down and down the more you think about it, to the point where somebody commented on one of our videos saying, "Well, you have to assume they got at least 50% of the plays." I'm like, no, I would assume they got less than 0.1% of the plays, because there's 700 possible plays,
yeah.
50 to 60 snaps a game. You don't know if those plays were even used in the game against Michigan, and there's just on and on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
every little bit of information is valuable, but again, it's a little bit of information.
I mean, not only that, but I think you can even start way at the beginning and say, what exactly did this person with their phone get that is
Hmm.
any different than what the broadcast gets? I mean,
Right,
they have cameras on the sideline. I mean,
right.
Michigan for a while had the khaki cam on Jim Harbaugh. So they
Yeah.
have cameras on the sideline and including when they're calling the plays with the signs and stuff like that too.
Hmm.
So
That's a good point. Yeah.
what could they have gotten that was any different?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, by the time that video got back to Stallions, they've already got the all 22 that they could have been watching, which is probably much
Mhm.
better video.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
So yeah, so it makes me wonder. And I know the documentary is coming out. Well, documentary. There's a segment of a documentary show on Netflix coming out.
I think August.
Is it end of August? I think it's
I think
coming
the
out.
end of August, yeah.
And I just saw the description of the show, and it says Connor Stallions gives his side of the story. So this isn't an expose. This isn't they found out stuff about Connor Stallions and they grilled him. It actually says Connor Stallions is giving his side of the story.
Yeah.
So we may find out that Connor Stallions was just kind of being let's just say he was being a jerk.
Either that or he wanted to look good. I mean,
Right. Yeah, he wanted to
he
look good for
also
the
had that
coach.
manifesto and all that too. I think
Yeah.
he probably what happened was that he was just overly enthusiastic and wanted to look good and made a couple of mistakes in the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
But before we step away from this, there was the question about postseason bans. Now, Josh Henschke is saying that there was no worry about a postseason ban, but then earlier on, it was said that there could be the worry of a postseason ban. Does that include the CFP since they're different entities? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, from what I understand, because of what happened last year with what the CFP said, the CFP, it is a separate entity. They decide whether or not they want to ban Michigan from the playoff. They've said that they already said that the sign stealing stuff was more of an NCAA issue, and they're not really worried about that. So I would be shocked if they just all of a sudden decided to ban them now. To me, they would have, if they were going to ban them, it would have been last season because
Hmm.
that's when everyone thought that this was a really big deal. Of course, unless you were a Michigan fan, in which case you knew that it was totally bunk because anyway. Either way, I don't think a bowl ban is in the cards. But the NCAA has been completely irrational throughout this whole investigation. So honestly, who knows? I will
Hmm.
say that Isaiah Hole also said so. Isaiah Hole said that Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports said um, that the notice of allegation sheets don't list out punishments. So it could be
Right.
that the bowl ban is something the NCAA is going for, and maybe that got leaked, but the punishment really wouldn't be in the NOA anyway. So we don't know what to expect. At this point, I think if the NCAA levels or levies anything more than like fines against Michigan, then it's basically confirmed that they're a dying organization looking for one last shot at relevance. I mean, they're desperate, and it's really starting to show. I mean, frankly, it's starting to show for rival fans and such too.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think about what we think by leaving a comment below. If you want more college football stories like this, give the show a like. And while you're there, slide a little bit to the left and give us a subscribe. We are on our way to 1,000 subs, and we would love to have you come along with us. You can also catch us live on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show, Monday nights at 8, right here on YouTube. Mac, take us out.
This is the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Sam Hartman's looking downfield for Adrian
Oh!
Barger.
Barger almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.